In this video, we've updated the cost of living for 2024, so stay tuned all the way till the end. What's up, everybody? It's Cassandra Lopez with the Living in Bremerton channel. If you're new to the channel, you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe. This channel is all about living in Bremerton and the surrounding areas. So whether you are new here for the first time or you've been around for a while, you just want to learn more about the area, be sure to subscribe and tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. And you can reach out to me directly. This is my cell phone and my email. Feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do to support your relocation to Bremerton, Washington. So as is the case with most areas, the bulk of your cost of living is going to be your housing costs. So we'll talk about the median home price here in Bremerton, as well as the rent price, because I know a lot of you are renting and a lot of you are buying, so it's good to know the difference, right? So for Q1 in 2024, the median home price in Bremerton, Washington was $475 to $500, depending on who you ask and what part of Bremerton you're in. Bremerton is geographically pretty large, has lots of different little mini markets that affect the values. So if you're looking to purchase a home, the median home price, so right in the middle, plenty above, plenty below, that does include condos, which factor into that like lower end price point. So we have a lot of condos in that like 250, 275 range. Just keep in mind that they do come with the HOA dues. There are also lots of manufactured homes in parks that are on the lower end. Those are going to be like below 200 usually, sometimes even below 100,000 if you are in a specific location. But again, you're going to have space rent in lieu of a mortgage for those. So you're going to not own the land the home is on. So you have to rent the lease space. You have to rent the dirt that the home is sitting on after you buy the house. So just keep that in mind. On the higher end, we have some pretty affluent communities in Bainbridge Island, in Poulsbo, anywhere along the waterfront. You're going to be in those upper six figures, sometimes seven figures. So those are going to factor into the high end. So right in the middle, we're about 475, 500. For rent, if you're looking to rent a home for a 2-bedroom, you're going to be anywhere from like $1,700 to $2,000 to $2,000 a month, depending on, of course, size, features, location, amenities. If there's parking, you know, like all of that stuff. Same things that would affect like the purchase market. For a 3-bedroom house, you're looking anywhere from probably $2,100 up to $2,800. I know that's a pretty broad range, but 3 bedrooms, that's kind of like the bread and butter for like a single family home. So the things that factor into that is going to be, you know, attached garage, if there's a yard with a fence, because a lot of times there's a pet that comes with the family. The school district is really important when you start looking for homes for your family, so that kind of factors into the price range also. So depending on the area that you're looking, I will say that I have 3 rentals in the Bremerton area, and they range from $1,900 to $2,500 is the range there, and I have 2 2-bedrooms and 1 3-bedroom, so they're right in there. The market rent and the market value for sales is going to be determined on whoever's renting or whoever's buying. Compared to the national average, Bremerton and Kitsap County is about 20% higher than the national average. But if you're looking at Seattle, which is 12 miles due east, it's the big metropolis in Washington state that everybody knows about, you're looking to start a 3-bedroom rental at $2,900. And if you're buying the same house in Seattle that would be here, it's almost twice as much. So median home price in Seattle is upwards of $900, $925 over there. So keeping that in mind, Bremerton is the more affordable option versus King County and Seattle, but we are a little bit higher on the cost of living scale if you're looking on a national scale. Another factor that's variable depending on your household size will be your cost of groceries. So Kitsap County and Bremerton is right in line with the national average. I have 3 kiddos that live here with me, and our grocery bill is somewhere between like $600 and $800 a month, depending on where we shop. I make some pretty hefty Costco trips. I should add that I also have 2 dogs and some cats, so like that gets jumbled into the grocery bill also. So if you don't have pets, they're quite expensive. So your bill is going to be less than mine, unless you have more children than I do, and then it's offset. The grocery bill, of course, is factored by location and metropolis and that sort of thing. So groceries here are going to be a little bit cheaper, like a few percentage points, like say 5 to 10% less expensive than it would be like in Seattle or King County. All of this though is influenced by the supply chain and the cost of gas. So the cost of gas seems to drive everything, right? Because it takes trucks and airplanes and this sort of thing to like ship the goods, and all of that is passed down to the consumer. So as gas prices go up, which that'll be our next topic, everything else goes up and it just adds to inflation. So we're not talking like the crazy inflation like we saw over the last 4 years with the excess printing of money, the limited export of goods, but increased import of goods, all of that stuff that I'm not an economist, so we're not going to get into that. But all of those things have crazy inflated prices of things. When I'm just talking about the regular, like 2 to 3% per year inflation that we've experienced for the last couple of centuries, that is all influenced by supply chain and cost of gas. All right. Next up, cost of gas. So in Bremerton, Kitsap County, we're looking at around $3.85, $3.90 per gallon. Some of the rural areas, of course, are going to be like well over $4 a gallon. This is for regular unleaded, 87 octanes. This is not the high-end stuff. This is not airplane fuel. This is just regular run-of-the-mill. I got to get some gas to go to work gas. So we're less expensive than Seattle, as is always, as this is the trend, right? But we're less expensive than places like the Midwest. And can somebody please explain to me, put in the comments, why in the Midwest mid-grade gas is less expensive than regular gas, the 87 octane? Why is that? Because that's not the case here in Western Washington, or anywhere on the West Coast for that matter. So a couple of reasons why gas is more expensive here in Western Washington than it is on the national scale. So I think nationally, and this is taking into account all those Midwest prices, gas is about $3.50, $3.70. Can somebody put in the comments like what gas is in your area so I can kind of like do a comparison? That would help with these factoids. But every local municipality is going to have their own gas taxes. So like state and then county, maybe even city, and then the demand. So like Seattle as a metropolis is going to have a high demand for gas. Over here in Kitsap County, we're still plenty populated. The gas stations are still always full, so demand's pretty high here as well. But we don't have the population that Seattle does. Okay, next we're going to talk about health insurance. So I know this is kind of like an individually based topic. So this is going to be different for everybody. Kind of like if you go to apply for a home loan, what your interest rate is going to be, it's going to be very individualized based on your situation. So health insurance costs tend to follow cost of living in that area. So since we have a higher cost of living, we're going to have a higher health insurance premium. And you know how like when you go to get a quote, they always have you put in your zip code? Well, that's why, because they base out the averages, right? St. Michael Medical Center, which is in Silverdale, just did this like $100 million renovation, right? It used to be Harrison Silverdale and Harrison Bremerton, two different campuses. They combined them into one campus at the Silverdale location and completely redid it. They added on, they expanded, they upgraded all of their equipment. It's all state-of-the-art everything. So that's going to be all factored into your healthcare premium costs, because that bill ultimately will fall to the consumer. Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, that's not the point of this video. So I will say that I previously had Kaiser Permanente. They were like the most affordable for what I needed. I don't go to the doctor very often. I'm in fairly good health. I don't have any, chronic conditions. I don't need any regular prescriptions, like nothing like that. So I'm like the doctor visit twice a year person. That's me. So my premiums were about $550 a month when I was with Kaiser. Now I recently was approved for full comp at the Department of Veteran Affairs. So now I have zero healthcare bills. So that's like one benefit that I'm totally taking advantage of. So look into that if you're a veteran and you don't have that yet. So, but I will say that when I was shopping in the consumer portal, there were premiums that were like over $1,000 a month, and that was just for an individual. So if you start, adding on a spouse, a partner, children, whomever, that's only going to go up. So if you are offset by the military, so say you're active duty, you're totally covered. If you're retired military, you're totally covered. There are supplemental programs like Medicare and Medicaid. So you want to look into those and see how you might qualify for those kinds of plans to offset the higher cost of healthcare, because it's a thing, you guys, and I know it's a big thing, and I know it prevents you from adding to your kids' college fund, and it prevents you from adding to your 401k, and it's like things. So we need to look into these other programs and subsidies that we may qualify for to try to get that bill down. Okay, and the last one we're going to talk about, and this is going to hit the families hard, is the cost of childcare. And we're talking about preschool age kiddos. So my youngest is 10, so I am pretty far removed from having childcare expense. Okay, my kiddos are all in school. My oldest is now graduated. So if you have children who are littles and you need to go back to work, obviously you need some kind of childcare. A lot of people will have employer subsidized childcare, which is amazing. Some employers have on-site childcare, which is even better. But if you're looking in the private sector for options to drop off your kiddo during your working hours, those are expensive, especially if your kiddo is like really, really small. So like under a year, infant age is going to be your most expensive. And then I think it kind of tapers off until they're like 2, and then it kind of drops off again when they're 2. I know that there are some churches that have childcare programs, whether it's full day or half day. You'd have to look into what those look like, but I know those are pretty common. I even took my son to a church like 2 minutes down the road because they had a childcare program. Even though I was not a member of that church, they were, I mean, they're not, they let, you know, whomever sign up. So it's like whoever wants to write the check could go, right? So, and I recall it not being super expensive, which was good. And I only needed him for half day, which was also good. But I know there's other full day programs out there. Now, if you're looking at a full service, full day facility like Martha and Mary, for example, my oldest I took to Martha and Mary, she's 19 now. Gosh, this is like, you know, forever ago, in Silverdale. And I really, really liked it. It was a really good facility. I have no idea what their rates are right now because obviously I was there like, you know, 16 years ago. But I know that a lot of people will end up going to a one-income household. So one parent can stay home with the child because the cost of childcare is so ridiculously expensive. Now, you're going to have to look into that on your own. But I know this is also like, this is, you know, this is why we have multi-generational households becoming more and more prevalent, not only for the childcare reason, but maybe like to also help take care of mom and dad, right? So this is going to be an ongoing thing for working families that we're just going to have to figure out a workaround, right? As a single mom, I was able to manage it. I was able to research my resources and find some help and all of that stuff. And that worked out for me. I know they're there. I know they're available. It's just a matter of where you want to live, where you want to have care for your kiddo, if you want to continue working, if you have to continue working. I mean, these are all things that need to be answered for you individually. So take that for what it is. But cost of childcare here, I mean, obviously, again, less expensive than Seattle, more expensive than the rest of the country. And it's a bill. It's a thing. So it is only temporary though. You know, when your kids as they get older, the bill goes down and then they go into school and then, you know, then we can all breathe a sigh of relief. If you liked that video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. If you're in town visiting, if you need to connect, if you have any questions about Bremerton, Washington, this is my email and my phone number. Please feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do to support you, and be sure to leave a topic idea in the comments so that I can research doing a video for your request. Talk to you soon.